The Inside Edge Network is brought to you by Fanatics. Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans, dedicated to our favorite teams and athletes to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We're talking NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, National Hockey League, the NCAA. I'm a wrestling guy as well. We got WWE apparel available too. It allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. It's right there in the corner of your screen. Get your official gear. Level up with us at fanatics.com.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee.
And with that, welcome on in, everybody, to another episode here on the Inside Edge Network. I'm Eli Moon, and we have a jam-packed day for you today with the Guardians taking place at Progressive Field, their home opener against the Chicago Cubs, and I'm excited. We talked about it all day yesterday on primetime, Chad and I wanted to get on here today and just prep everybody for the home opener against the Chicago Cubs. Obviously a team that we have some history with in the 2016 World Series, where we could have obviously ended the streak. They did, the Chicago Cubs, so they come back in to Progressive Field now 10 years later, and the Guardians still on the hunt for their first World Series since 1948. And the Guardians, very promising so far to start the year. We've talked about the offense, and is the offense going to be able to hold up? Well, they went into Seattle and they went into Los Angeles, two very tough teams. Seattle, an ALCS finalist, really a game away from going to the World Series last year. And then you have the Los Angeles Dodgers, the back-to-back World Series champions. And the Guardians played ball very well, 4-3 on the year right now. And if you were to ask anybody, hey, what would the Guardians be after 7 games against the Mariners and the Dodgers? I think 4-3, you'd take it. I think 4-3, you would definitely take that record. And the way the offense has been producing, I think you would definitely be happy with it if you're a Guardians fan. Because the big talk last year was, how is this offense going to be able to produce against postseason teams? How are they going to play against the Yankees, the Mariners, the Blue Jays? How are they going to compete against these other NL teams? And so far, so good. They've looked really strong against these teams, the Mariners and Dodgers. They play the Cubs today. And it'll be interesting to see how they fare against Chicago, who's 3-3 coming into the game today and looking to still find their footing. Very early, though. We talked about it on primetime that it's tough with baseball to really get a full idea of the season, right? Like, you can't figure out the season in 7 games. But what you can figure out is trends, right? And through 7 games, so far the offense has looked pretty good, and the pitching has been pretty impressive for the most part. Gavin Williams the other night having an impressive 7-inning just run against the Dodgers. Parker Messick, we've seen some real good flashes. Tanner Bybee, obviously the right shoulder inflammation after the opening start, but, looked good when he came back against Shohei Ohtani. So very impressive for the Guardians here. And just listen to some of these run totals. Obviously the opening game, opening night against the Mariners, 6 runs. They have 1 the next day, but then 6. They get shut out, then 4, 1, and 4. So a few blips. You're going to have that in baseball. But I think to see that they're scoring against some of this top-level pitching in Seattle, in Los Angeles, that was really impressive to see. And like I said, 4-3 on the season, heading into a game against the Chicago Cubs, who are 3-3 on the year. Today's pitching matchup is Joey Cantillo for the Cleveland Guardians. He has already made 1 start this year. He has a 4.91 ERA in 1 game this year already. So 3 innings, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. So we'll see if he can get his footing today against this Cubs offense, against Chicago. The sun's going to be shining. We heard from Matt Wentz yesterday on WKYC, and thanks for joining the show yesterday, Matt. We really appreciate you. He said that the weather should be good for opening day, the home opener for the Guardians, our opening day here in Cleveland. And I'm excited that the Guardians are going to be able to play some baseball. We'll keep an eye on the rest of the weekend here, Easter weekend, but at least today they're going to be able to play some baseball. And another exciting thing is Chase DeLauder is back in the lineup. He's going to be DHing, batting number 2 today. So you're going to get to see how he is after the minor injury. He fouled the ball off his foot, his back foot, which is kind of crazy to think. You don't see many injuries like that. But he's back in the lineup today. And the one notable thing is Rhys Hoskins not in the lineup. So we'll kind of see how that's going for the Guardians, how they kind of tinker with this lineup. Because you have some bats with DeLauder once Manzardo starts warming up. And Rhys Hoskins, where you really, really could have some pop in this offense. Not to mention Jose Ramirez. Steven Kwan's going to be consistent at that leadoff spot. So it really seems like we have the makings of an offense that's just one or two guys getting going from really being a problem in the American League and Major League Baseball in general. So I'm very excited about that. As I mentioned, Joey Cantillo on the mound for the Guardians today. He'll be taking the mound, the lefty, 6'4", 225 pounds, the 26-year-old Joey Cantillo. And he'll be battling Cade Horton, the righty, who stands 6'1", 211, 24 years old, has made a start already this year. 1-0, 2.84 ERA, 6 1/3 innings pitched last time out, and 4 strikeouts. So we'll keep an eye on that as well, and how the Guardians can battle against a guy who's had some success in his first start so far this year. So we're going to talk about a ton here with the Guardians. We're going to get you ready. We're going to go for about 45 minutes to an hour here just to get you warmed up for the preview so you can turn on the game, get ready, and, grab your nachos, grab whatever you're eating today, and we're all going to just enjoy some Guardians baseball. So, again, I'm Eli Moon. I'm here with you just to get you ready for Guardians baseball. And I got a question for you. For everybody out there tuning in right now, are you going to the game today? If you are, let me know. Message us in the comments if you're watching along, and tell us where you're sitting, take some pictures, send it into the Inside Edge Network, tag us at InsideEdge Net. Let us know where you're going to be at for opening the home opener for the Guardians, opening in Cleveland, shall I say. So excited about all of this. Are you going to the game today? I will not be, but I will definitely find my way to Progressive Field very soon, because we talk all the time about this team and this city, and we know it's a Browns town. I get it. The draft is literally weeks away. And, everybody wants to talk about the Cleveland Browns, and I understand. I'm not going to spend too much time, or if not any, really, on the Browns today, because this is about the Guardians. This is about a team that, and I've been tough on them, for lacking the World Series since 1948, but a team that consistently plays good ball, has you wondering, are they going to be able to make that run for the World Series? You're going to get October baseball, and we're in for a very fun summer, it appears. The pitching is where I'm very interested, because it seems so far the offense is getting going, and like I said, if you can get Manzardo going, if Arias or Rocchio, I know he went yard Arias the other night against the Dodgers, if one of those guys can get going, or if we have to bring up Travis Bazana, and there's more on that, I'll talk about that later on in the show, but if we have to bring up one of those bats, if those guys can get going, then the offense is going to be fine. It's really, can we see this pitching staff show any sort of resemblance of the pitching staff from 10 years ago? And I know I keep going back to that, but that was the World Series 2016, the finalist, the Guardians, Corey Kluber, Trevor Bauer, Josh Tomlin. I mean, they had arms. Carlos Carrasco. I mean, they had so many great arms. Andrew Miller in that bullpen. I know it's a different team. I know it's 10 years later, but can they find that magic? Can that pitching staff lead the offense when they do have that May or June rut? That may happen. You have a lot of prospects in this offense. I get it. These guys, we've talked about it. A few of them have been up a year or two. I get it. They're still very young to Major League Baseball, and they're going to go through ruts. Can the pitching lift them up during those moments? We'll keep an eye on that. But yes, excited for baseball to be back here at Progressive Field. It is back officially, and we're going to get you ready for it. 4:10 is first pitch down at Progressive Field. If you've seen the parking prices, I mean, my goodness, nothing too crazy at this point, or unexpected. It is crazy, but not unexpected. You're seeing $70. I'm seeing $80 on some of these parking lots. I mean, just insane. I used to live downtown, and that's why a lot of people take scooters or get on a motorcycle or a bicycle or walk, because it just seems so crazy that we have to pay almost $100 on top of paying for the ticket price, on top of paying for the concessions, on top of paying for, $12 to $15 for a beer. And I don't drink anymore myself, so I save myself about $15 there. But what I save myself in beer money, I definitely make up for in buying nachos and a few hot dogs at the game. I mean, so $70, $80, we got to talk about that eventually. I mean, can we please make this affordable to go enjoy? Sports games, sporting events, I understand that this isn't something new with the parking prices. I get that. But with everything being priced out for the average fan, your normal everyday human being, it's getting tough to really want to go out to opening day. Why not wait till May or June and get, a $20 ticket and only pay maybe $20 for parking? That's half. That total amount, $40, is half of what you could pay at some of these parking lots today, these parking garages. I mean, insane. So, got to talk about all that. Got to talk about the Guardians and all the fun jazz. Of course, we got a busy day here for you. Mic Check Take 2 will be hitting the airwaves later on this evening, and they got an exciting show. David Ruiz, I believe he's got a special guest hitting the air with them. So make sure you tune in for that. They'll probably talk a little bit of Guardians and the recap of the day and just everything else going on in the sporting world. Of course, if you're just tuned in for the first time, my name's Eli Moon. You can catch me pretty much every day of the week. Inside Edge Primetime, I'm Conversations with Eli Moon on Tuesdays. Monday through Thursday for prime time. I produce Midnight Run for Anthony Alford, midnight to 1, Monday through Wednesday here on the Inside Edge Network, and produce Real Talk with Papa Moon Saturdays at 5 p.m. So I stay busy, and I'm blessed that you all are tuning in and choosing the Inside Edge Network as your source of sports, entertainment, mental health, and everything in between. We're going to take a quick pause here, and when we come back, we're going to talk more Guardians, get you ready for the day. We're going to hear from Matt Wentz from our interview yesterday, Chad's interview with WKYC weatherman and meteorologist, shall I say, the meteorologist, Matt Wentz. We were blessed to have him on the show yesterday, and we're going to hear from him. Just get another update real quick on the weather forecast. If you didn't hear it yesterday, you'll hear it if you're at the game. Tune it on just so you know what to expect. Hopefully you didn't leave yet so you can get this update. But I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. This is getting you ready for Cleveland Guardians' home opener against the Chicago Cubs, and we're back right after this.
Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com.
Hey, I got something to show you guys. Take a look. It is spring. Happy spring to all of you. Take a look at what we have here for you from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Beautiful spring scent candles here for you. Hand poured with premium fragrance and essential oils. How about this? Our coconut soy wax candles bring fresh, uplifting spring scents to your home. Made with clean, natural ingredients, they're a mindful choice for sensitive spaces and those who love effortless seasonal fragrances. You got to check it out right now. There's the soft bloom and the lemon bar candles, all healthy ingredients, all from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20. Get this for yourself, for your friends, family, everyone. You want a good smelling home, AlleyRoseFragrances.com will make it happen. Again, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Get the new spring candles. And when you order, if you're a first-time customer, InsideEdge20 is the promo code.
And welcome back. There I am. I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. We're getting you ready for Guardians pregame show. This is the Guardians pregame show. We're getting ready for the home opener. Oh my goodness. I need a second cup of coffee, everybody. I'm getting ready myself as the Guardians are taking on the Chicago Cubs at Progressive Field. 4:10 p.m. is the first pitch at Eastern time for us over here in Ohio and everybody on the East Coast. So with that being said, when we left off, I was talking about yesterday. Obviously, we had a conversation on Inside Edge Primetime. Chad Bryan, my co-host, was able to speak with WKYC's Matt Wentz, meteorologist Matt Wentz, over there at WKYC, and have a conversation about the weather, what to expect this Easter weekend with the Guardians home opener today and Saturday and Sunday. I think it's very important for those that are going to the game this weekend to know what you're going to wear, because in Cleveland, you could be in a jacket 10 seconds and then take it off because the sun just came out. And then you got to put it back on a few minutes later. So let's hear from Matt Wentz and Chad Bryan from Inside Edge Primetime and Matt Wentz from WKYC about what weather to expect this weekend.
And the way I want to bring this up is the fact that we are going to have rain around in the morning. What we're watching on radar here tonight, you can see it if you check right now, there's going to be severe weather out towards Chicago and tornadoes and all sorts of action out there. That is going to slide in here as we get into the morning hours. We're not going to get the tornado stuff, though. We'll just have leftover rain from that. So it's going to be rainy tomorrow morning, and it may be rainy up through that morning rush hour into the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour, and we're all going to say, man, are the Guards going to get this game in or not? They will, because that front's going to wash out over us. Temperatures are going to be really mild. It's going to feel like summer tonight and tomorrow as well. We'll start probably in the upper 60s like we would on a summer day, and that rain will fade, and we'll likely go to sunshine with some clouds, and we'll see some pop-up showers and downpours during the afternoon. I feel like most of them are going to stay away from the ballpark around 4 o'clock, obviously first pitch. So we'll be dealing with some downpours perhaps down to the south. But I do feel like we stay dry for the game. Temperatures, though, are interesting, Chad, because they come down. Anytime we have a very light wind this time of year, which we'll have tomorrow, the wind will be very light. The cold air out over the lake, let's get geeky. It's heavy and dense, and it likes to expand. And that's what we call the lake breeze. And so it's going to be a light wind tomorrow. We'll likely get up near 75 or so at the ballpark pregame. But once the game starts or a little bit before, that lake breeze boundary will come in. So you're going to want the jacket because temps will go from the 70s to the 60s to the 50s for much of the game right at the ballpark.
How about that? Shout out to WKYC's meteorologist, Matt Wentz, getting us ready. When he said tomorrow, obviously that was last night on primetime. So that means today. So tomorrow meaning today, because now it is today. But a very busy weather weekend for us Clevelanders. And it's been really, really cool to see the springtime coming back. Okay, let me just talk about that for a moment. We're going to talk some more baseball. But it has just been so good. I'm a summer baby. I joke with my parents. I'm a West Coast baby born in an East Coast state. And, to see 70-something degrees the next few days, that's absolutely amazing. And it's going to be good for the hitters. We keep talking about this offense, but I think it's so important we do. Because last year, that's what we were talking about as well, but not for the good reasons. We were talking about why can this offense only put up 1 to 2 runs a game? Why is it getting shut out against divisional rivals? Why is it struggling? And that hasn't really been the case. I get they put up a few goose eggs, but for that, they've also put up some 6-run, 4-run games and have really produced. And I think that's what we're hoping for out of the offense. Okay, you may lay an egg every now and then, but with the addition of Rhys Hoskins, with Chase DeLauder finding that pop in his bat and really being a surprise early on for the Guardians. Okay, this might be the norm, and with the sunshine already starting to creep out in Cleveland, and yes, we hear there may be some rain the rest of the weekend and a chance that, we might get a rain delay this early in Cleveland. Oh my goodness. But it's exciting to think the sun's going to be shining. The ball may carry, with some winds maybe. Just keeping an eye on that. I feel good about the offense today. And I think the energy is going to be back at Progressive Field. We spent a lot of time talking at Midnight Run earlier this week with Anthony Alford that the energy, and especially in baseball, and I think in all sports it's important, but baseball, it's a long season. It's 162 games. There are stretches where you're playing really good baseball. There's stretches where you're playing really bad baseball sometimes. And then there's just, you can't find any footing. And I think it's so important to have that clubhouse camaraderie, that locker room leadership that the Guardians do already seem to have early on. We have AL Manager of the Year, two-time Manager of the Year, Stephen Vogt. We have Austin Hedges, though he does get a lot of, I guess for lack of better words, he gets a lot of crap for not hitting the ball really well offensively. I get it. But for what he does as a catcher and as a leader in that locker room, it seems like the guys around him love having him there. He just completed 10 years. He's in 10 years of service in the MLB. So obviously he knows what he's doing to stick around and be a veteran. So I think that's sometimes what you have to look at with some of these guys. And it seems like catchers become the best manager. So Austin Hedges may be a manager one day. It just seems to be the trend. But I think that having an Austin Hedges in your locker room, your clubhouse, having Stephen Vogt as your manager, having these guys, having Jose Ramirez, who has been around the playoffs most of his MLB career and is really, really trying to get back to that spot where he was. He was so close in 2016 with Francisco Lindor and all those guys, Mike Napoli, Party at Napoli's. Who remembers Party at Napoli's? My goodness, I do. But he wants to get back to that point. He wants to get back to being at the World Series. And he's a guy that knows what it takes to get there. And I truly, truly have a good feeling about this Guardians team. It seems like they got a lot of momentum. They went up and played, like I said earlier on in the show, they played two tough opponents in Seattle and Los Angeles. In Chicago, 3-3 to start the year. I get they lost Kyle Tucker, but they still have a very good offense. They have a team that's we're going to have to keep an eye on. I don't think this is the last we'll hear from the Cubs in the NL. I get it. 3-3 right now. It's not like they're 6-0. But we talk about baseball. We talk about trends. 3-3 is like if a football team started off 6-2, kind of in a way. You kind of get what I'm saying here. It's different. It's different. So I'm excited to see kind of where this series goes, how Cantillo looks today, this afternoon. And I'll tell you this, Guardians fans, you have to be happy if you're a Guardians fan, not only because baseball is back in Cleveland, not only because we're 4-3 on the season, but because have you seen the Dodgers score today? Have you seen what the Dodgers are doing to the Washington Nationals? Because I have. They had an absolute monsoon of a middle innings. 5 runs in the third, 2 runs in the fourth, 4 runs in the fifth. Almost everybody, it seems like, has gone yard for the Dodgers today. They are up 12-4 right now on the Washington Nationals in the top of the 8th. Shohei Ohtani got his first home run of the year. I believe Freddie Freeman has went yard. I mean, Kyle Tucker. Almost everybody's gone yard for the Dodgers. So that's such a testament back to the Guardians of that pitching staff. That the fact that Bybee, Williams, those guys went out there. Those are the 2 leaders of this rotation. And they went out there and really impressed. Again, the Guardians really against this Dodgers lineup. 2 runs Dodgers scored, 4 runs and 1 run. So to give up only 7 runs in a series, they have 12 runs today. And it all came in 3 innings. So it could really, really be magnified. And I'm not one to magnify sample sizes, but magnify this for a moment. That is the best offense in baseball. They were hitting the cover off the ball against Arizona, and they went into this series against the Guardians, struggled a bit, and now here they are doing this against Washington. I know Washington probably isn't one of those teams we're talking about come postseason time, but it's still very, very impressive that the Guardians were able to stifle these Los Angeles Dodgers bats, Shohei Ohtani especially, and I'm excited to see if maybe that was just a taste of World Series action. I get it. We're in April. We haven't even played a home game yet. Forgive me, because I know I was tough earlier on in the network's existence when we first started up the network talking about the Guardians postseason, and are they going to get it done, or is this just another, yay, happy story, 15-and-a-half game comeback? And maybe I was being, And maybe I was being too tough on the Guardians, for a lack of better words. Maybe I was being too tough. Maybe I was feeling the frustration from the Cleveland Browns season going on, the Cavaliers just getting bounced by the Indiana Pacers not too long before that, in the season before. And maybe I was feeling like, you know what, why can't the Guardians get this done? But I've had time to think about it here for the last few weeks since baseball has been back. And I've thought, you know what, I'm going to enjoy the ride. And that's what I would advise any Guardians fan out there, to enjoy the ride. And that's what a lot of my co-hosts and my network talent, my other guys on the network, Inside Edge Network here, Chad Bryan, Double A Anthony Alford, these guys tell me that I got to enjoy the baseball ride. That I can't be ready to crown a World Series champion after 10 games, that I can't be ready to call for the season to be over after 40. And okay, I know that I played baseball most of my young adult life. I get it. But I'm going to finally listen to the advice and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the 3-4 game run against the Dodgers. Enjoy the start to the season. Enjoy all of that. But also be aware that I'm not going to melt down necessarily if they go on a 8-game losing streak, because it happens. It's baseball. In football, your season would be over. In basketball, they'd be talking about tankathon. In baseball, that's just a 2-week stretch in May. So I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to believe that this is the team that can get Jose Ramirez back to the World Series, that this can get Stephen Vogt to where the conversation isn't just AL Manager of the Year 2 times. It's now you're a World Series champion as a manager. And now your resume looks even crazier in the early parts of your managerial career. I want to see the young guys like DeLauder and Manzardo and Rocchio and all these guys get a taste of World Series action. I want to see the 10-year veteran Austin Hedges get to the World Series. I want to see these guys get there. But I'm going to enjoy the ride that it takes to get there. It's going to be through this month of April, getting ready for the summer months. It's going to be in the dog days of July where you don't know what to expect out of this team. And we're trying to figure out if they're going to win the Central, or maybe we're figuring out if they can be the number 1 seed in the AL. Who knows? But I'm going to enjoy that ride. I'm going to enjoy it in the last few stretches in August and September, getting ready for October baseball, because I have a good feeling. I really have a good feeling that there's going to be October baseball in Cleveland, and I'm going to enjoy that ride as well. I'm going to be a little different than I did last postseason when I was like, if they can't beat the Tigers, if they get bounced in the wild card, the season was for naught. Look, we're going to have a lockout more than likely on December 1st when it seems like the two sides here, the players and the owners, aren't going to come to an agreement. We'll see. It could change. But it seems like we're not going to have baseball again until 2027. So what am I going to do? I'm going to enjoy the 2026 MLB season where the Guardians are off to a good start. And I advise everybody else out there in Cleveland to try to adopt the mindset I'm doing. Because, again, I was tough on them last year and really the years past. Okay, cool. Can you get to the World Series again? I miss that. I miss that feeling on Carnegie and Ontario and Carnegie. I miss that feeling. I miss the rally towels going crazy. And we get tastes of it. But we haven't got the full course meal since 2016. And I want that back. But I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to enjoy the ride. And the ride at home starts today against the Chicago Cubs. 4:10 first pitch. Again, just for those tuning in, Joey Cantillo for the Cleveland Guardians taking the mound against Cade Horton. It'll be an interesting matchup. It seems like the rain's going to hold off. You should get some sunshine out here. If you're going to the game, again, I told you in the first segment, I'll tell you again, tag us at InsideEdge Net. Tag us, tell us where you're sitting, what your plans are for the game, what you think of the Guardians so far. We want to be involved with you and have you communicating right back with us here. We're very interactive. We appreciate you because we couldn't be doing this without you. So if you're tuned in for the first time, give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, and let us know where you're going to be at for the game today and this weekend during Easter weekend in the home opener series for the Guardians. So I'm Eli Moon. We're going to take a quick pause. When we come back, we're going to go over the starting lineups for the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to go over the starting lineups for the Chicago Cubs because the starting lineups are out. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about what to expect for this Guardians season, and we'll put a bow on this, get you ready for first pitch at 4:10 p.m. there at Progressive Field. I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network, getting you ready for Cleveland Guardians baseball this afternoon.
clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10.
And welcome back to Inside Edge, the Inside Edge Network. I usually am used to saying Inside Edge Primetime, but this is Inside Edge Network. Follow us at Inside Edge Net. I'm Eli Moon. We're getting you ready for the Cleveland Guardians home opener against the Chicago Cubs, which takes place at 4:10 p.m. Eastern Time here at Progressive Field in Cleveland. And it should be a nice weather day for the Guardians. And I think it'll be a overall good day for the Guardians' bats. That's what I'm feeling. And before we get out of here, I'll have my Guardian to watch offensively for the day. So before we get into that, I want to go over some scores across the league. There's been baseball on early on, so I'm going to go over some of these scores for our MLB fans at home. Of course, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers 12-6 over the Washington Nationals, bottom of the eighth. The Nationals have added on a few since we last spoke. And then in the end of the eighth, 4-0, the Tigers, Detroit Tigers over the St. Louis Cardinals. Top of the seventh, 5-2 Yankees over the Miami Marlins. Bottom of the fifth, 2-2 Padres and Red Sox. 3-1 the Chicago White Sox lead the Toronto Blue Jays. 3-1 in the bottom of the fifth. And right now delayed are the Rays and Twins. They are in a delay. So some games later on, obviously the Cubs and Guardians. We'll talk about them in a moment. You have Reds, Rangers, Phillies, Rockies, Orioles, Pirates, Brewers, Royals, Mariners, Angels, Astros, Athletics, Braves, Diamondbacks, and Mets, Giants. A lot of fun baseball today. And I'm excited. Going to sit back, relax, and watch a lot of baseball. Of course, going to start with my Cleveland Guardians at 4 o'clock. And your Cleveland Guardians out there. I want to give you the starting lineup. Of course, we'll start with the Chicago lineups. The Chicago Cubs, their lineup. The away team. On the mound, obviously, Cade Horton with a 1-0 record, 2.84 ERA, and 4 strikeouts in his first start. The Chicago Cubs lineup will be at second base, batting first, Nico Horner. Batting second, third baseman, Alex Bregman. Batting third, left fielder Ian Happ. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot, catcher Carson Kelly. Batting fifth is the first baseman Michael Busch. Number 6 in the sixth hole is Dansby Swanson, the shortstop. Batting seventh is Matt Shaw, the right fielder. Batting eighth is Pete Crow Armstrong, who just got the new extension for the Chicago Cubs, the center fielder. And Miguel Amaya batting ninth, rounding it out for the Cubs. They're DHing today for Chicago. And then for your Cleveland Guardians, Joey Cantillo on the mound for the Guardians, 0-0 this year with a 4.91 ERA and 5 strikeouts in his first start. The Cleveland Guardians lineup, batting leadoff, the left fielder, Stephen Kwan. Batting second, DHing today in his return to the lineup is Chase DeLauder. Batting third, the third baseman, Jose Ramirez. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot, first baseman Kyle Manzardo. And batting fifth behind him, the catcher, Bo Naylor. Batting sixth, Angel Martinez, the right fielder. Batting seventh, center fielder Daniel Schneemann, who had a good series against the Dodgers. He had a big game there in one of the games against the Dodgers. Batting eighth, the shortstop Gabriel Arias, and batting ninth, rounding out the Guardians lineup, is Brian Rocchio, the second baseman. So that is your Guardians lineup against the Chicago Cubs. Again, Guardians 4-3 to start the year after games against the Mariners and the Dodgers. Cubs 3-3 to start the year, so really not that far. I mean, a game away from what the Guardians were doing to start the year. Obviously, one game less played. So they have had an interesting game and started the season, and we'll kind of keep an eye on the Cubs, keep an eye on the Guardians, and all of that. Okay, before we get out of here, because like I said, I promise you we'd be here until about 4 o'clock. I want to talk about one more thing before I get into my Guardian to watch offensively today. I want to talk about this infield position, okay? And I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday. If you tuned into Primetime with Chad and I, we had a little bit of differing opinions. I think when it comes to like team size, now I know I just got done saying I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm still going to give my thoughts on where the team can improve. And I think Gabriel Arias and Brian Rocchio understand they are on borrowed time. They understand that they are trying to play to stay here all the way through October. You know, especially with Gabriel Arias, and there's no more DFAs, you know, so can't really designate him for assignment. He's got to figure it out, or he's going to be either on the bench or a different team here. And offensively, you're looking for the pop from one of these guys, if not both. They've moved from 6 and 7 in the lineup to 8 and 9. And yes, it seems like it's been better results, but this is still a lineup, you know, that needs these guys to step up. You know, batting 105 is Arias. Yes, he has the 1 home run, but he has 2 hits, one of them being the home run on the year. Brian Rocchio, batting 200. He has 4 hits on the year and 20 at-bats. I mean, yes, he has the 3 RBIs. I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's just not consistent enough for me. And it makes me feel when you're watching Pittsburgh, who at a few minutes after the Guardians start, they throw their first pitch out for the home opener against the Cubs. The Pirates are going to be trotting out shortstop Connor Griffin, the 19-year-old who turns 20 later this month. Their top prospect, and the top prospect in baseball. He didn't win the job in spring training, but 6 games after, he's up there with the Pirates. He's in Pittsburgh today. He's going to get that roaring ovation, and it's crazy because I already talked about inking him to a long-term extension. The Pirates, who don't pay anybody. Insane. And it makes me think, how long do we wait for Travis Bazzana to come up to Cleveland? And I've heard different, conversations about he should be up here right now. I don't think he needs to be up here right now. To Chad's point yesterday, he hasn't been batting the best to start off the year. I get it. In the World Baseball Classic, it wasn't necessarily the prettiest batting average, but the fact that he was on that team speaks volumes, and he did have a great game yesterday for Columbus. So it makes you think, how long do you wait? Do you wait another week and see how Rocchio and Arias are going? Do you call them up, especially with the Griffin, news and everybody, coming up and playing good ball? Owen Casey over there playing good ball for the Toronto Blue Jays. These guys just all kind of coming up at the same time. And it makes you wonder, is Bazzana next? Is Bazzana the next guy to come up? Was yesterday's good game, going to be the stretch where it leads him up in a week or two? Guardians fans, the Miami Marlins for Owen Casey. My apologies. He played on Team Canada, so I was thinking Toronto, but no, Owen Casey, Miami Marlins, who are playing today right now against the Yankees. But nonetheless, point still stands. These top prospects, Owen Casey for the Marlins, Connor Griffin for the Pittsburgh Pirates. You have these guys coming up, and you wonder if Bazzana is the next to come up. He is a little bit older than Connor Griffin, right? I mean, he's not the 19-year-old teenager that's going to come up and wow everybody like that. He's 23 years old, right? Which isn't old. I'm not going to sit there and say that'll be 29 in July, okay? But he will have another birthday in August, and he'll be 24, right? At what point do you bring him up? You want to capitalize. The whole point of drafting this guy number 1 overall is to capitalize on him being the first overall pick and being a stud for your Major League Baseball team. This is the Major League Baseball draft they are taking part in, not work your way up for 5-6 years. And I'm not saying it'll take that long. I get it. Because there's also the impatient side where if you bring him up and he turns into another failed offensive prospect the Guardians have had, nobody's going to let the front office live that down. So I understand where the frustration comes from him fans wanting him up right now. I understand the frustration from fans that are like, just chill. Let's not mess this up. If you want my take, I say you give it another 2 weeks. You give it another 2 to 3 weeks till about the end of April, middle to end of April. If Arias and Rocchio are still batting, Rocchio's at 200 right now, but it was sub 200 most of the year so far. The first 7 games, most of that 7-game stretch, it was pretty bad. If they're still having struggles, and if Bazzana at least looks all right defensively, because we'll put up with all right defensively. Chase DeLauder still figuring it out in the outfield. That's hence, they're putting him in DH today to make sure he eases back from the injury, and you might see a little bit more of that too. So you can start rotating more guys into the lineup and still keep that pop. Do you bring Bazzana up? I know Rocchio's got a great glove. I know Arias sound defensively. Do you bring Bazzana up? And you get that pop in the offense. So we'll keep an eye on, Bazzana. He had, like I said, good game yesterday in Columbus for the Columbus Clippers. So we'll keep an eye on how that goes and when he comes up to Cleveland. But I'm excited. The expectation, it sounds like, is he will be up here in 2026. It's just when. Now, it won't be the home opener, but it seems like it'll be soon. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. And we'll keep an eye on the Guardians at 410, the lineup they do have out today. Because I'm excited to see how DeLauder looks. I'm excited to see how this offense really clicks. And if Arias and Rocchio can make me eat my words here today and have a good game. Obviously, I'd love that. I love that as a Guardians fan. So we'll take a quick pause here. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on the show. And I'm going to give you my Guardian to watch for the day and the Guardian to watch this weekend offensively. I don't think it'll surprise you too much, but we'll talk about it. I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net. Go to the QR code. I always point it the wrong way. Boom, that way. QR code. It takes you to InsideEdgeNetwork.com/partners. You've been hearing, from some of our sponsors throughout the show. Fanatics, W Energy, AlleyRoseFragrances.com, SportsMemorabilia.com, and Monster Moments Photography. Go to the QR code right over, boom, Oh my goodness, I pointed. Oh man, I'm all messed up. There it is. That way. There we go, fellas and ladies. The QR code will take you to InsideEdgeNetwork.com/partners. Go to the link. It'll take you there and get you to all the great stuff, all the great deals, and all the great stuff from our partners at the Inside Edge Network. Again, give us a follow, Inside Edge Net. Stay locked in here. Mic check take 2 coming up later on this evening here on the network. But I'm going to come back and go over my Guardian to watch this day and this series. Back after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Network. This is the Inside Edge Network. I'm Eli Moon, and we are talking Guardians and the Guardians home opener against the Chicago Cubs, which takes place in literally about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so at 4:10. So 15 minutes. Excuse me, quick math there. 15 minutes, and the Guardians are taking place against the Chicago Cubs here at Progressive Field. Cantillo versus Horton on the mound. It's going to be a very interesting game. I want to go over my Guardian to watch. Now, there's a Guardian to watch for the day, and then there's a Guardian to watch for this weekend. And they're not the same guy, all right? I'm going to give you Eli Moon's Guardian to watch today. And it's not going to shock you, but today it is the guy batting in the 2 spot. The guy returning to the lineup. I'm so excited. I'm just getting hyped. But the guy returning to the lineup, Chase DeLauder. The guy batting DH. I think the fact that he's not going to have to worry about the defensive side of things today, out in the outfield, I think he's going to do wonders. I think he takes Cade Horton deep today. And I think that the Guardians are going to win this ball game. How about that for some Cleveland excitement? I think Chase DeLauder goes deep, and the Guardians win the ball game today. Now, my Guardian, and real quick, we got Derpy 501 first 2 saying, go Guardians. Go. That's right. Absolutely. My Guardian to watch this weekend. It's going to be one of those guys that I mentioned just before we went to break. My Guardian to watch this weekend is Brayan Rocchio. Brayan Rocchio has 3 RBIs and a batting average of 200 on the year so far. He has shown flashes of offense, of power. And I'm not saying home run power, but contributing to this lineup, getting on base, being an impact player on both sides, defensively and offensively. And I feel stronger about him being on this team in October. With all due respect to Gabriel Arias, I feel better about Rocchio being here than Arias. I think Arias is having a tough time at the plate. This is a very important stretch for him this next month. But I think for Brayan Rocchio, he can cement being here in this major league roster, this Guardians roster, moving forward. Not saying this series alone, but this can definitely help get the ball rolling for him. If he can have 2 good games out of this Cubs series, that's what you're looking for. And I think especially we talked about with Travis Bazana being on the way, coming right up here soon. The expectation is a 2026 MLB season. They're going to have to make room for him somehow. And Brayan Rocchio is obviously hoping it's not going to be him. I think he is the Guardian to watch this weekend. Of course, we have a busy programming, weekly program. My goodness, I'm so excited because we have so much coverage for you all week. Now, we are taking a little bit of a pause with Easter weekend, so you won't have a Legal Formation or Sunday Sports Show unless something breaking happens. They're going to take a pause for Easter, and the guys are going to spend some time with their family. And we'll stay tuned for main event. We'll see if we're going to also do the same and just let everybody enjoy their Easters and get back with you. But we do have Mic Check Take 2 at 7 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network tonight. David Ruiz with a special guest. It's going to be very, very exciting. They've been a newer addition to the network, and it's been awesome having David sharing his takes. Though I don't necessarily agree with them all the time, it definitely makes it fun. He had Jake Underwood from the Jake Underwood Show on 14:20 a.m. on the show last week. So stay tuned to see who he has filling in this week right now before they resume back to the regularly scheduled program with him in Autumn. So very excited about that. Of course, all week long, starting back Monday, you have Inside Edge Primetime with Chad Bryan and myself, followed by Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. That's 12 a.m. to 1 a.m., and it's very unhinged. If you missed last week, a lot can happen. And with that being said, of course, this Saturday, we do have some weekend programming for you. Let's not get too far ahead. This weekend, we have some programming. Real Talk with Papa Moon that I produce. But Papa Moon, he gets out there and talks to the people. He has a very exciting guest this Saturday at 5 p.m. It'll go out to everybody. So make sure you stay followed here on the Inside Edge Network at Inside Edge Net. But I just want to take this time to say, once again, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for choosing the Inside Edge Network as your source of sports, entertainment, mental health, and everything in between. We really appreciate you and couldn't do it without you. Again, if this is your first time, hello. Welcome to the network. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, and stay locked in with everything we got going on here for you. I'm really, really appreciative, and that's what I kind of want to finish with. It. Just thank you for supporting us. We've been rocking and rolling for about 7 months now, and we really appreciate you as choosing us as your source of everything you need. So Again, busy weekend with Real Talk with Papa Moon. You got Mike Check Take 2 tonight, 7 p.m. Before that, and then a whole slate of weekly programming coming at you next week. So make sure you stay locked in here with us. I'm going to give you a final score. I told you the Guardians win today. DeLauder goes deep. I'm going 4-0. Guardians win today. 4-0. We're going to get 6 innings out of Joey Cantillo. We're going to get 6 shutout innings. They're going to hand it off to the pen, and the bullpen's going to take care of business, get it to Cade Smith, and Cade Smith's going to shut it down. Guardians win 4-0. Chase DeLauder goes deep. He's my Guardian to watch today. Brian Rocchio is my Guardian to watch this weekend. And with that being said, I hope everybody has a happy Easter if you celebrate. Hope you have a great weekend. And in Cleveland, I hope you are enjoying the good vibes because the weather is finally starting to break. So I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. Go Guards. And of course, we'll see you next time. Take care.